You don't need to put words in Timo's mouth. We can pull up the tweet. Hot take. The Raiders paid like 60% of what the Rams paid to the same player, i.e. Hunter Renfrow is Cooper Kupp. To be fair, he then threaded some replies. They have similar usage in route tree. Kupp runs more routes that are McVay staples, deep crosses, etc., because he plays with McVay. Kupp is also the most famous proponent of being more quick than fast, which is exactly the scouting report for Renfrow. Is Kupp better? Maybe. And then he says, do I believe that 100%? Lol, no. But it's fun to think about these things and think what we might be sure about, but what might be wrong.
I think reading behind the scenes over here, reading into it, I think he's basically saying if you gave Hunter Renfrow Cooper Kupp volume, he could put up similar numbers.
Well, he's basically saying if you transplanted Hunter Renfrow into Cooper Kupp's role and remove Cooper Kupp from the Rams, it would be the same. And I think that's madness.
Yeah, I think I would disagree there.
But I think there's a kernel of truth in that it would get you closer than you probably think.
Yeah, of course.
But
I mean, that the one knock on Kupp when you're looking at last year and saying this is an all-time season is it is easier to win from the slot. Like it is easier to put up volume from the slot. And I think through that lens, if Timo's saying, well, if you give Renfrow higher volume from the slot with the Rams. Now, Timo didn't want to say like with Matthew Stafford because he's also he's not a big Stafford guy. Uh-huh. But that's part of what made Kupp special though. Kupp and Stafford had special chemistry. And there is something to that. That's, Brady to Gronk and, Rodgers to Devontae Adams. There is something about chemistry and quarterback and receivers working together because Stafford and Kupp had it. Kupp also, he's a little bigger. He's definitely bigger and more physical and can win on the outside a bit more. And the other thing about Kupp, when you say quicker than fast, he ran like a 4.64, whatever it was at the combine, but we all know that the Rams were using more like on-field game speed type of metrics that are available, and Kupp's a lot faster than that. So he is not like he's not just a big, slow slot. Kupp does have some speed to his game as well.
He does, and that's the thing. Like, so even when you go back to his college tape, like he was running away from the Pac-12. Like he eviscerated Oregon when they played. When Eastern Washington played Oregon one game, put up like 240 yards, which is the game that I graded and sold me immediately on Cooper Kupp. Now, every time he then worked out, it's like, 4.6, come on. Yeah, it was annoying.
He then got open at the Senior Bowl, right?
Right, exactly. So, and you watched him at the combine as well. So you watch guys sometimes and they just move differently and look better than everybody else, and there's something to that. And so he did look incredible. But that was the game where you watch and he's catching a pass and then just outrunning a Pac-12 defense. Like, these are legitimate athletes he's running away from. If he runs a 4.6, it doesn't show up in the pads. Hunter Renfrow doesn't have that. Like, they might have similar comparable 40 times, comparable even the NGS stuff that sort of shows actual play speed, but it manifests differently. Like, it manifests itself in a completely different way. When Cooper Kupp catches a ball, he can outrun a defense and go the distance. Hunter Renfrow can't. Like, that's not a skill set that he possesses.
They've also both been given some leeway to kind of create their own routes, right? To kind of run instead of just like an in and out, it's like an in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
They're adding layers to the route running in part because they do have a good feel for where defenders are and how to get open, and they've both kind of been given a little bit of that leeway by their respective teams.
Yeah, another couple of elements. One, Cooper Kupp's a much better blocker than Hunter Renfrow is, a bigger guy. Two, as much as, Cooper Kupp's had a ton of production in the slot, the dude also wrecked press coverage. Like, he can play outside and win one-on-one against elite number one press corners. Again, not 100% sure Hunter Renfrow does that on a consistent basis. Two, the grading doesn't back that up, right? Cooper Kupp had a 94 grade last year. Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, it's one of the best seasons we've ever
seen. Hunter Renfrow was 71.7. Like, the data, the actual grading doesn't. Now, Timo's argument, again, this is actually putting words in his mouth, but Timo's argument presumably would be, but Matthew Stafford, the environment, the Rams, blah, blah, you swap over, that's going to equalize those grades a bit. Again, I would say, probably to some extent, it's not closing a 20-point gap.
Here's the other thing, too. NFL teams knew that Cooper Kupp was the go-to guy by the end of the season. Yeah. So whether it was Stafford to Kupp against the Bucs.
I mean, particularly, Robert Woods gets injured. Yeah. It is Cooper Kupp. OBJ shows up and starts making some plays, but for most of the season, it was unquestionably Cooper Kupp.
We're talking week 17, Cooper Kupp with or week 18, clutch touchdowns from Cooper Kupp, even though I think they lost that game. Yeah, in the divisional playoff against the Bucs, the all-out blitz where Kupp gets behind the defense. In the conference championship game against the 49ers, Kupp's a big part of that whole game. And then in the Super Bowl, right? Anytime you needed a third down conversion, game-winning touchdown, and the whole deal, it's all Cooper Kupp with Matthew Stafford. So I would take Kupp. And that's why Timo said hot take.
Yeah, it is a hot take, and I believe it's an incorrect hot take.